to Film Addict. I am your host.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to Filmatic. I'm your
I,
host, the Film
I'm sorry.
Doctor.
I'm sorry.
Nice to have you all back again.
I'm sorry.
The Film Doctor
Let's cut you off right here. Can you
has
stop?
been
Okay.
replaced
Time
with
out.
a new Film
Time
Doctor,
out. Time
the
out.
guy who knows the actors' names and the
Time
characters'
out.
names, and
You're still talking. I don't understand. I don't know if you understand this. I can cut your voice. Okay. You're done. This is my show. This is me doing me. You're like the film nurse or the film desk receptionist. The film, no one really watches you. It could be your title or cares that you're there. But you're damn sure not the film doctor. So let's just do this again. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here on Film Addict. I am your host, the Film Doctor, and today with me is my guest. That's right, I said my guest, Emmanuel. Manny, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you everybody for having me be the new Film Doctor. I've been
All right,
chosen
we're
by the
still going with
people.
this.
I
Do I need to-
humbly accept
do I
my
need to blur
award.
you
I will
out?
see you at the Oscars. Thank you.
I will cut your fucking mic. I hope you understand that. You're done. So we are looking at movies that are must see. This movie, I'm just going to go ahead and review it. It's called What Keeps You Alive, and this movie is an independent movie. I don't recall it ever going to the big screen, and I was very unsure about it. It came out inside of 2016. It's an independent movie that doesn't really have anybody that's well known in it. I think the genre I would classify it under is horror, maybe thriller horror. It is really good for the purposes. Like I know that a lot of people that don't watch independent movies. So for me to be able to come here and suggest an independent movie has to be a big deal. It has to be worth seeing because there's so many independent movies that are shitty, like any of the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies that he has done that are shitty. Bruce Willis has started to do a couple of those shitty kind of independent movies. Nicolas Cage is well known, but Nicolas Cage has done some really good independent features as well. But those are bigger names that have done independent features. It's a lot harder when you're doing an independent feature with no one that no one cares about. So the story is about these two women, the Justin Bieber lookalike one, and that's on Manny's left, and the other one who's on the right. And I don't want to give too much about it because I want people to be genuinely surprised as I was. I put it on just as background noise to kind of watch. And, it does take a long time, like I said, for it to get into it. I'd say maybe like 30 minutes for it starts getting like kind of good, kind of interesting. There's a lot of setup for it. And so, like I said, not every film is like that. I mean, every film to some extent is going to have some type of setup, whether it's a little, whether it's a lot. You can't start off with people fucking or explosions and action sequences and everything else. Not every movie can be like that. They have to be able to sometimes set it up, tell that story and everything else. And so I do thoroughly enjoy the movie as a whole because as a filmmaker myself, as a film doctor and only film doctor, I feel like there is a uniqueness to this film style. There is a scene, and I guess I won't give it away too much to talk about it. There's a scene that I thoroughly enjoyed where there's some stuff happening upstairs and the camera angles is going through the house, filming everything in the house. So you never see anyone on camera. I mean, the complete acting is really audio based. You have to listen and you're really sucked in as if you know what's going on. You know how things are playing out, but you never see any people in it. And it's not a slow shot, it's a panning shot that moves throughout the whole house as the movement is happening. So I thought that was really interesting to use sound. I mean, anytime that you can take audio and make that the most captivating thing without physically seeing people is interesting. And I don't think any movie or many movies to that effect have done something like that. I love the music and how it brings you in to a point where it's so intense. Now, they didn't do that in the first 30 minutes. You didn't get that suspenseful, tense music. You got it towards the last hour and a half or whatever it was, to where it really did add a lot to the entire project in general. Like I was at times scared and had goosebumps because it was just so riveting within the music and the things that were going on. I don't know what's wrong with the film nurse's face, but I will say that it was really good. I love the music and the connection with the action that was going on, and the acting. For actors that I don't really know, don't know much about, don't know the things that they've been in, the acting was really good. Like, I won't say who or what, but obviously you can see from the blood on one of the chicks' face that there's some violent stuff. And for me to say that is horror, I guess it's not really something that I'm giving away to say that one of them is crazy. And I think that portrayal of that crazy character was sold very well. Like, I'm trying to be very careful on my words because I don't want to give away too much, but I think that was sold well from that aspect. Everyone else was pretty much a general character, but all in all, if you're looking for something that's interesting, something that brings horror that isn't just jump scare, something that's interesting and intriguing, and granted, I'm not even mad about the two lesbian females because I was like, well, why didn't they do like a man or a woman? Because then you have this domestic violence thing where the man's beating on the wife and now they got to go out and fight each other or whatever to the death. I think that it does work better in this context as two women. So all in all, I really do think that it's a good movie. I recommend that people check it out. All right, film nurse, film receptionist.
What was the rating for it? What are you giving it?
Oh yes. So that's a good question.
See, I have to remind the film doctor how to do his job.
No, I want
to because I am the film doctor.
Okay,
so.
Film nurse. Keep it going. What I was going to do is let you do your review, and then I was going to give my rating. But that's a good question because I was going to give time to think about it. If I had to give it a rating for an independent feature, for people that aren't like A-list, B-list, C-list kind of actors, for a movie that's not well known about, for as slow as it was at the beginning, I'm factoring in all those things. But then I'm also looking at it from the perspective of, was it a good movie that people would enjoy? I really honestly think giving it anything inside of the B aspect is a disservice to this movie. So I feel that it's an A-. And at the worst, B-. And I really don't want to do that because the music, the acting, the cinematography, everything was pretty good. There were some minor things like it being slow and some things that needed to be explained better inside of the story. But other than that, I don't think it shoots it down to anything that would give it a B, anything. So I'm going to go A-.
Okay, so now that the real film doctor can break everything down.
The real film doctor is done. Go ahead.
The actresses in this film, the starring actresses, one named Jackie.
You Google that, everyone. Just let everyone know. Keep going.
Jules, if you watched our The Boys review, Jules was in The Boys as Popclaw. So yeah, I know things that the film doctor does not. But anywho,
I didn't say that I didn't know that, but keep going. Keep going, film nurse.
I thought that this was a good movie. I don't know that I would say it's must see. I think if you're a Saturday night, you're looking for like a thriller. I would say it's more of a thriller than a horror movie, what I would describe it as, like a thriller drama. But if you're looking for a good thriller movie to watch on a Saturday night and you're hanging out with your friends, I would say turn this on. It's going to be very entertaining. I did think the acting was very good, especially from Jackie, the Jackie character in this movie. Playing a sociopath like down to a T. Her emotional flips were perfect. I don't want to give too much away, but there's a shot where she's showing one emotion and she's like,
that's what I didn't want to talk about.
Yeah, she's showing emotion and she does such a good job of flipping it, and she did a phenomenal job.
And she didn't do it just once. She did it like she was flipping back and forth to it. And I was like, this it's crazy. Like I done messed with a couple of crazy chicks in my time, but she's at the top of the food chain.
Yeah, she did a very good job. And so did Jules. I think the acting helped this movie. And the shot that you're talking about, I do remember that. And that was the best shot in this film. I think
phenomenal shot
in this film. I think the idea for that too was well done. It was a great idea and it was very well executed. So I can say that. But it's just so slow in the beginning. I know you said 30 minutes. It felt like an eternity trying to get into this movie. I'm like, okay.
Understand this. No different from when we did the review about Running Scared.
Mm-hmm.
Though Running Scared, it was slow a little bit at the beginning, and then it got to all this crazy stuff.
It wasn't like this. This was Running Scared was better than this. Like every time I've said something,
There's no debate. Running Scared is fucking amazing. There's no debate on that. But understand this is that when you're watching that, it's setting up this story, and you don't even know that it's going to be a thriller. You, in all honesty, you probably just think it's a love flick, like a romantic love flick. Did you not? Because that's kind of what I thought. Like, I'm gonna see this love flick about these two lesbians just going at it. I mean, it's hot and they're making out right now. This is getting good. I'll still watch. But then when we see crazy ass Jackie and her crazy ass and other stuff that happens to old girl Justin Bieber Jr., shit just hit the fan, and I'm like, whoa, this, like, it just blows your mind, and now you're sucked in. You society, and I know that you'll agree on this, society has become where our attention span is not the greatest. You know, we need to have something, explosions and shit happening throughout the whole thing. And making movies is really about storytelling. Yeah. And it just took a little bit more time of storytelling to make it understood. And let me put in this perspective, since I am the film doctor and you're the film nurse. If they would have started out and they didn't really explain anything about their relationship, the other chick that they came across that lives across the lake, and they just jumped straight into it from the point where they're at the mountain cliff and everything talking, and they just jump in it from there. Would that have been really as good of a movie to where it's understanding? Or will we be here talking about how there was too many loopholes and they didn't bring up and talk about certain things?
We would be. See, here's my thing, right? I don't have an issue when a movie's slow, but they could have used that time for things that were not explained. Like a lot of the stuff, like in the beginning of the movie, the stuff that wasn't explained throughout the regular movie could have been explained in the beginning. We could have done better with the exposition. So that way when we are building the story, it could have been better. And then it wouldn't have been in the B range for me. I think they could have used that time much better than what they did. They did set up the story, but not in a way that it answers the questions that it poses. You know, there's a lot of questions.
What questions did they not answer in your eyes?
So, like, you know, they were talking. I don't want to.
This is why he's the film nurse. He doesn't even know. It's fine.
No spoilers. But like explaining, like, I'm trying to find a way to say this. Explaining her other people that she had meticulously disappeared.
Would that have added value to the story?
I think it would have, because even
would that have caused your whatever rating that you give it in the B range? Would that have caused it to jump up to A?
I think it would have.
Really? Just for her to explain where those other things came from.
It would have gave her character. She did the actress, for the script that they gave her, she did a fantastic job.
At this point,
it would have based her character more in the movie for me.
At this point, the way that you're talking, and I see that you're disappearing a little bit because of your green screen, it makes me say that I wish you disappear 100%, because your opinion on this is not from a film doctor's perspective. The movie is just, it's all around a good movie.
Well, we don't have to agree, old film doctor.
That's right. They're taking my opinion anyway. They're just listening to yours because you're just there.
I would give it a B. I wouldn't give it a B minus, because I do think that would be a disservice to this film, especially keeping in mind that it is independent film, and the shots they pulled off in this movie for an independent film were phenomenal. And I really want to give it a B plus. So I'll bump it up to a B plus.
That's that. You know, when I said B minus, I meant B plus too, because I said basically what I was going for is I didn't want to step it down from A minus, and so I misspoke. Is when I had said it, when I said B minus, I meant B plus. So if anything, B plus is the lowest that I would give it, but I really don't think that it's deserving of that, just because so many other qualities that make it a good movie. That one thing, whether if it's an exposition, storytelling, or whatever, is not enough to shoot it down to anything that's in that B range. That filming and just that sequence in general was so phenomenal. And so many of the other shots that they had that were tenseful were phenomenal. The acting, the music, all of those things are components that go into the end product of a film. And I just feel like taking away one thing, out of context to put it all the way down to B plus, B minus, B anything is not doesn't do it justice.
It's so those are two things that got it to a B plus for me. Um, you know, this without I'm trying not to spoil the movie to say like my other things, but there's some other reasons why I think it's a B plus movie and not an A minus movie. And just on the scale of the movies that we've reviewed together or that I've reviewed with you, that's why in scaling in my mind. Please don't get me wrong. The shots that they pulled off, especially the sequence that you talked about, is one of the best shots I think I've ever seen. It was done amazing. The way that they did it, the music that they put behind it, the audio that they did for it. Whoever had that idea, somebody executed. Somebody executed it perfectly.
Perfectly.
Like, they executed it perfectly. The shots were definitely good. We had some side characters, but they were just kind of there to kind of fill in some of the gaps of the story.
Not to cut you off, but I don't want to spend too much time on this one because this could be its own full episode. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there was only 4 people and 1 location in this movie to make it that good is noteworthy. So many big budgeted movies invest all this money inside of extras and everything else, and they really, it's almost like someone just took a camera and just said, fuck it, let's go out into the woods and shoot this with 4 people. You got to bring your cousin, bring your auntie, blah, 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 the 4 of us, and we're going to make this happen. And it was just magic. It goes to show that you don't need millions and billions to make a decent or good movie.
You don't need, all that money. And it was, I can say that once the story got going, I was definitely interested. And I did find myself yelling at the screen, like, not at the crazy girl, but during one scene that we'll discuss off camera, like, you stupid.
I hate to say hashtag white people. Doing some dumb shit like that. But no, I enjoyed it all around. So.
It's not, I don't want to knock it because, like, what they did for an independent film was great. I just don't know, just like thinking of how we've rated films, that I can say this is an A minus. I don't think it's anything less than a B plus though. To give it a B minus or a C would be a disservice, especially what they were able to pull off with this was freaking fantastic. So I would say people should check it out. It's definitely a good thriller movie. I don't know that I would describe it as horror, but it is a great thriller film. And as always, as the slow doctor,
you're the slow doctor? Okay, go ahead.
Get through the first 20 or 30 minutes of the film, and it will be well worth your time.
It's worth your time, people. Go check it out. The Film Doctor says so. Don't hesitate to listen to the Film
says so. Yes.
Don't listen to the Film Receptionist. It definitely, go check it out. It's on Netflix. It's called What Keeps You Alive. And that's really all that I have today for movies that are must see. I want to thank everybody for joining me on this episode. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell, do all that jazz. And as always, this has been another exciting episode of
Filmatic.